Presidential candidates are hitting their rhetoric while Kamala Harris spoke from the January 6th insurrection site. Donald Trump rallied in Pennsylvania, where he had survived an alleged assassination attempt on him. As they make their final bids, let's understand from our correspondent Hiral, who is in New York City right now, as to what is going on. Hiral Sachde is joining us from New York at this point in time. Thank you so much, Hiral, for being here. Important to understand what exactly is going on over here and what do both the candidates have going in their favor. Well, first up, Harris was at the January 6th insurrection site to campaign yesterday. Will it be a major factor when people go out to vote for her?
Yes, the presidential race is surely heating up. Madison Square Garden versus Capitol Hill. Now, Capitol Hill was a very strategic location. What happened on 6th Jan 2020 at Capitol Hill is unprecedented. This kind of violence, post polls, a violence which a lot of people believe was incited by Donald Trump, who was president then, who refused to take the electoral loss with grace and dignity. And then the supporters were Trump supporters, and instead of trying to send out any sort of message, make a statement telling them not to be violent, he kind of was complicit by silence, you can say, just like you have guilty by association, but in a way complicit by silence. And that is what a lot of lawsuits thereafter have also spoken about. So Kamala Harris being at that location was actually invoking in people's memory what happened there, because I don't think any American, whether their political leanings be Republican or Democrat, was ever supportive of what happened. Uh, it this this it linked Donald Trump specifically to what happened that day. In my mind, I don't know if other voters, other audience members were also viewing it that way. So standing on Capitol Hill ellipse and making her closing argument as a presidential candidate up against Donald Trump was a, I would say, a very strategic move by Democrats in the run up to the elections.
Right. Well, Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania yesterday, the swing state that was won by Biden in 2020 by a razor thin margin. Will the assassination bid incident get Trump the sympathy that he's been asking for?
Democrats have spent considerable time in swing states. In fact, three of these states flipped from Democrat to Republican in 2016, and then Biden managed to flip them back to Democrats in 2020. So let's look at the latest polls of what it shows in Pennsylvania. Emerson survey shows that Trump has about 49% of voters, while Harris has 48. Bloomberg says Trump has 48.2 and Harris has 50%. Pennsylvania has historically leaned Democrat. Since 1998, Pennsylvanians have picked Democrats until 2016, when they actually picked Donald Trump. So, given going by the numbers, Trump does not seem to have a huge advantage because of the shootout that happened at his rally, which was in Pennsylvania. But at the same time, we don't see a very clear edge for Kamala Harris as well in the swing states.
Right. Well, there is also a war of words between Trump and Biden and Harris over immigration and the Puerto Rico vote. Will this sway the migrant votes one way or the other?
So, if we compare the two speeches, Donald Trump has said he is going to evict immigrants. His stance seems to be specifically against illegal immigrants, violent immigrants with violent backgrounds. And what Kamala Harris again has said, that yes, she would also deport immigrants who are specifically involved in crime, and that does not go only against immigrants. Anybody involved in a crime against American citizen is subject to a judicial process. So Trump has spoken of deporting large number of people, whereas Kamala Harris has cited a judicial solution as and when a situation arises. Trump's legacy on tough immigration was panned when he was in the office, because it's remembered for what it did to families. It separated families, and that was the biggest criticism that his program drew. However, Harris seems to be presenting a more rational view at the moment, but the immigration problem is more complex than that. It changes from state to state. It also changes from how each citizens of each different state perceive immigrants and perceive what it does to their social, cultural, and fiscal resources. So it's not a straightforward answer as far as the immigrant point about immigrants goes, the issue about, as far as the issue about immigration goes, well, we have to see what exactly the people are subscribing to.
Right, and how are the Americans reacting to the garbage commentary in the final days ahead of the US polls from Puerto Rico being called a floating island of garbage to Biden calling Trump supporters in Puerto Rico garbage as well?
Okay, at Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden, we had comedian Tony Hinchcliffe call Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Now, definitely that has not gone down well with Puerto Rican immigrants, people of Puerto Rican descent. Celebrities like Bad Bunny and Ricky Martin have actually slammed what the comedian said. Now, conveniently, the Trump campaign and Trump himself has distanced from these remarks. He has categorically said that, well, those are the campaign put out a statement saying that those were the views of the comedian and they don't necessarily ascribe or subscribe to it. At one point, Trump has even said, "Who is this guy? You know, why should we bother so much about him?" As far as the vice presidential candidate JD Vance goes, he's also tried to make light of the entire speech at Madison Square Garden. So. If you see how that impacts Latino voters, let's say until September, more voters backed Harris. 36 million strong vote base. That is what the Latinos bring to the table, and historically they have tended to vote for Democrats. But in October, however, Donald Trump seemed to have gained marginal ground. So from 39%, he now has 40. He had 40% vote share. So he seemed to be making some headway with the Hispanic and Latino voters. But this remark again has given a chance to his critics, given a chance to pro Democrats to highlight that Trump is not standing with this particular community, this particular group of people, this particular ethnic group of people. So recently, after the rally at Madison Square Garden, Trump was in Pennsylvania. He was in one of the parts of Pennsylvania which has a majority of Hispanic and Latino population. And he also got an endorsement from the local leaders. So all is not lost yet for Trump, but well, this remark has definitely not gone down well across sections of society.
Well, Democrats have targeted Trump, called him a Nazi, a racist, fascist. Are Americans buying this description?
Well, American voters are used to Trump's barbs even when he was outside of office, right from the Obama administration days until now. So his supporters lap it up when he makes remarks like that. But at the same time, his critics don't let go of an opportunity to bank on these and prove that how he's not an ideal candidate. So Trump's choice of words has always landed him in hot waters. Okay, it has always given fodder and provided monikers for him. This time it is racist, fascist. So does this ideology really sway voters? I don't think so. The voters are pretty smart to see through the rhetoric, see through the chest thumping remarks that he makes. I think that the voters are much smarter with and will probably make an informed choice on November 5th.
Well, how important is the vote of Indian Americans in this election, according to you, and how have they traditionally voted?
According to a recent survey by YouGov, we see that Indian American women, 67% of them would want to vote for Harris, whereas 53% of Indian American men would vote for Harris. Compared to that, 22% of the women want to vote for Trump, and 39% of the men want to support Trump. 47% of Indian Americans identified as Democrats in 2024 compared to 56% in 2020. And I think that is where the crux of the matter lies, that they are slowly Democrats are slowly and steadily losing the Indian voter base. Now, if you could probably say the reason could be that Republicans have more candidates who are or pitched more people with South Asian descent like Nikki Haley, Usha Vance, and Vivek Ramaswamy. But it's not like these candidates have been able to create a very positive image or have resonated with the voters. So they don't hold a very high regard or very high opinion of the candidates that have come out of the Republican Party with a South Asian background.
Well, can Harris's India connection be a motivation for Indian Americans to vote for her or not?
So yeah, you clearly see that Kamala Harris definitely holds a lead in the South Asian community, and her Indian that has got more to do with the way Indian Americans vote. You cannot necessarily say that it is because of her South Asian roots, but well, clearly she herself, as far as her identity goes, she has never really tried to portray herself strongly as a part of one ethnic group over other. So she has tried to maintain an image that she is everyone's president and does not really favor any one community over the other.
Right, and who will be a better American president for India's foreign policy with the United States, according to you?
India is in a win-win situation as far as the strategic ties with America go, and whether it is Trump or Kamala Harris in the Oval Office, I think India is still stands to benefit. If you look at what happened during the Trump administration, they had very strong ties with India. The Indo-US relationship is very strategic for both countries at the moment. Trump also had personal relations, good, strong personal relations with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and of course his strategy is more transactional. It's more about what he gets in terms of trade benefits and economic ties, business ties. And when it comes to Kamala Harris, it's more of a strategic partnership. India is being viewed as a power to counterbalance Chinese influence in the South Asian continent. So, from that perspective, India holds a significant position for both candidates, I feel, and both parties at the moment.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.